invest. I don't want to see it enough, okay? Now let's move on. Let's talk about the software engineer space, right? I started my career off as a software engineer. I'm a former software engineer, and I like to share my experience with you about the career path in the tech industry as a software engineer, right? When you start your career as a software engineer, you might wonder about the long-term prospects. Like, what is it that I can do as a software engineer? What is it that I can do as a software engineer? Unlike a traditional corporate, ladder climber, the career path for a software engineer can be different. Starting with the role of a junior software engineer or junior developer, right? When I started my career off, I started off as a software engineer. I was sitting in the development organization. 6 months after that, I was in the professional services organization, writing code and talking to customers, right? Kind of started off as a junior developer, then transitioned over to the implementation services business where I was able to understand customer requirements and do modifications to the software solutions that I was responsible for. And I had no idea what career paths that I could have taken, but there's many that you can take as a software engineer. And let's talk about those options available. First, there are large corporations where upward mobility among tech positions is an ongoing challenge. We know that, right? Climbing the ladder as a tech professional, there's a challenge with doing it, right? How do you get there? How do you open the doors? How do you get into the room? How do you get into the clique, as some would say? But while tech professionals do move up in management, the majority prefer to stay in the tech and to work their way up to become a distinguished specialist, right? A lot of people want to start their career off as a software engineer and stay on the technical side to become a technical specialist. That wasn't my career of choice. Mine was to start as a techie, but then migrate over towards more of a manager leader climbing the corporate ladder. But there are more options beyond just large corporations. Also starts with deciding on your career goals. Again, what is it that you want to do in your career? Understanding what it is that you want to do in your career, right? If you go back to the previous example or the previous topic that I was talking about, I told you earlier in my career, I wanted to be the man. I wanted to be at the top level. So in order for you to be the man starting as a software engineer, all the way over here.
What's up, ladder climbers? It's Antoine Wade. I wanted to interrupt this video to talk to you guys about Course Careers. Course Careers is the place that you guys need to go if you have a high interest into tech sales. They will help you gain the skills that you need so that you can enter the tech sales world to make a whole bunch of money. Tech sales salaries early on is about $60,000, guys. That's a good salary. And with OTEs, you can make anywhere from $85,000 to $90,000. If you have an interest in tech sales, check out Course Careers, link in the description. And don't forget to use Antoine50 so that you can get a $50 discount off of Course Careers. See you guys in tech sales.
You have to take a lot of steps in order for you to get the skills or gain the skills that you need in order for you to become the man. And you have to write down those career goals. Do you want to be a non-technical manager? Do you want to be a technical manager? Do you want to be a CTO? Do you want to be an owner of a company? Do you want to be a CEO of a company? Do you want to be a consultant? Do you want to just be a teacher? The possibilities are endless, and you need to choose the path that's best for you, okay? You need to choose the path that's best for you. So what is it that you want to accomplish if you're going to start off as a software engineer? Understand that. Write that down. It's important. Now let's talk about some of the options in more detail. To become a CTO, I remember at one point in time I did want to become a CTO, CIO, and so forth, because as a software engineer, you're in the tech world and it's like, okay, well, what is it? I want to become a manager and I want to be responsible for technology and so forth. So one of the roles that I want and I had in mind was a CTO or a CIO. But in order for you to become a CTO, you need to have a strong track record, years of experience, and a deep understanding of different technologies, especially guys, software architecture, cloud architecture, cybersecurity. Be warned, though, that the competition is hot and the job is challenging, requiring you to balance both the technical aspect of it and the non-technical management duties, right? When the reason why this was a career path for me at one point in time is because I started off on the technical side and I quickly went to the non-technical management duties. That's why CTO was an option for me. Now, as I've stayed more on the non-technical management duties, my technical foundation hasn't left me, but it's diminished. It's not as strong. The foundation isn't as strong. I'm in sales, so I understand technology, but I don't dabble too much into it anymore at all, right? So naturally, a CTO role for me, I can do it, but that's not where I want to take my career. That's not where I want to take my career. I want big money. And CTOs make big money. They aren't making the top. They aren't at the top of the food chain when it comes down to making the money and so forth in your career. That entrepreneurs, CEOs, they do more. And let me just tell you this, if owning your own tech company is your dream, then you need to be prepared for the fact that you will spend more time on the business work and less on programming. So if you are a software engineer and you want to own your own business one day, know that there's going to be a transition from you going from being that developer or that software engineer or designing stuff to focusing more on a business. But if you're passionate about building a product and running a business, then it can be a rewarding career path. It can be a rewarding career path. Also understand too that businesses fail and you might need to change your career plans. I know a lot of people who have gone out, started their career as a software engineer and wanted the best and decided they wanted to start their own company, have great ideas and get funding and so forth. And then they end up working for another corporation because their business failed. Don't be surprised if you have to make career changes. That's fine. That's learning and grow. That's not necessarily a failure. It just means that you tried something and it didn't work out. It's fine. Understand though that a lot of businesses fail, right? For those who prefer to go from company to company, helping with specific needs, being a consultant is another option for you, right? This can result in, high hourly pay. You're talking about, man, back in 2006, I was working for a company that was charging for my services at $250 an hour, right? Just think about that. You're making $250 an hour. Now, the company's making it, not you, because ultimately you're probably getting paid only about $90. But if that's the world for you, if you want to go from company to company because you have some sort of expertise, specialty, warehouse management, transportation management, whatever it is, and you can make a whole bunch of money because you're an expert in that space and you can get a high hourly rate, right? But also it means that there's a potential for long gaps into your employment. So a lot of times as a consultant, there may not be any projects that's out there for you. You may have to wait for 3 months, 6 months, a year or so forth in order for you to get that gig that you ultimately want. As well as, you may have to pay higher taxes and insurance premiums and so forth, especially if you're doing it on your own. And I would tell you this, as a consultant, you're going to need a lot of business skills and deep industry expertise. But that's another path for you. That is another path for you. CTO, entrepreneur, consultant. It's interesting because when I was, started off as software engineer, I liked the consultant. I was in a consulting organization, professional services as a consultant and so forth. And I thought that was going to be where I was going to start my business because I had that level of industry expertise. And I was like, okay, but what is it that I can do on my own to make the money that I want to make? The company's charging our clients $250 an hour. I'm only getting $90. Can I do this for myself and make $150? That's what you can do as a consultant. But you have to understand that it's more about entrepreneurship if you're going to go out there and do it yourself on your own. Okay. So as you can see, there are many options available to you as a software engineer, each with its own set of pros and cons, from CTO to CEO to CIO to consultant to entrepreneur owning your own business. You just have to decide for yourself which path you want to take and make the most out of your career in tech. It's your responsibility. Which path are you going to take? You got to decide, okay? All right, that's another topic that I wanted to hit on. And